Hi, this is Good Game with the mtgnoob.com. I'm going to be playing Naya in a daily event. Here's a list that I'll be playing. First you have your 10 mana producing creatures. The curve in the deck's a little high, so you need some sort of acceleration. And there's 4 Kitchen Finks. Kitchen Finks is just a great card. Attacks the control and combo decks, blocks against Jund and any other aggro deck, gains life against the burn decks. Just a very good card overall. Restoration Angel and Kiki-Jiki are the main combo of the deck. Kiki-Jiki also combos with Bellringer and Conscripts, along with Restoration Angel is also just a very, very solid card in the deck. The deck is full of creatures with effects when they come into play, so being able to blink those or even just reset your Finks is just a very, very powerful effect. Bellringer, sometimes you just need a cheaper Restoration Angel, essentially. Conscripts is really nice. It also comes with Kiki-Jiki, but it also allows you to do some crazy things with Birthing Pod. Being able to untap Birthing Pod, is great utility. It allows you to pod a Murderous Redcap into a Zealous Conscripts to untap your pod, and then you can sack the Redcap to go get the Persistent Redcap to go get a Kiki-Jiki, so you can kill them with just a pod and a Redcap on board. It also allows you to kill from like a Finks and a Restoration Angel, or a couple other different combinations. So Zealous Conscripts is another card that's just a really good card to have in certain situations. Great tutor target, and also just part of the combo. Then you have your eight tutor cards, 4 pod and 4 chords. They're basically the glue that holds the deck together and what makes it so consistent. So many ways to find your combo, so much redundancy. And there's all these unique tutor targets. The Canonist is obviously for Storm. Some people like to play Spellskite, but I prefer Canonist. It makes your Storm matchup, your game 1, so much better. Like almost all the Storm decks don't play main deck Lightning Bolt, so they're just cold to a Canonist. They have to somehow get an active Pyromancer Ascension and then Grape Shot it, which that gives you plenty of time to find your combo. Not to mention if you just have an Angel, it'll flash in and blink your Canonists in response to their Grape Shot. Spark Mage is great in the mirror to pick off opposing birds and hierarchs. It's great against any of the Squadron Hawk decks, if those you happen to play against those. It's great against Delver decks. It's okay against Jund. It kills Dark Confidant and Cunning Spark or Grim Lavamancer. So it's another just nice option to have. Witness is great just to rebuy anything. It makes Chord really good because you can basically combo them with just a Chord given enough time. You can Chord for Witness, rebuy the Chord for Angel, to blink the Witness to rebuy the Chord, and then Chord for Kiki-Jiki. For my Artifact Destruction spell, I'm playing Harmonic Sliver over Solid Pride Mage. I like Harmonic Sliver better because it goes much better with Birthing Pod. Being able to play a Birthing Pod on turn 3 off of a Wall of Roots and instantly get a Harmonic Sliver and get the effect is very, 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 very good. Especially in the mirror, where you need to, if they have a pod, you need to kill it as soon as possible. You don't have time to, get a Pride Mage and then wait another turn because they're probably going to get something to kill your Pride Mage, or just Linvala you to turn it off. So I also like the fact that you don't have to sacrifice it to get its ability, so you can keep on potting it. Whereas if you pot into Pride Mage and then destroy an artifact, you don't have a creature to pot anymore, off that chain. So overall, I definitely like this sliver better. Murderous Redcap is there as a way to deal with pesky creatures. It kills Lavamancer, it kills Dark Confidant, it kills Delver, it kills Step Links if they don't have a fetch land. Plenty of stuff it kills. It also goes well with if you have a pod and a Conscripts in your deck. You have a pod in play, you can pod, as I said earlier, your Redcap into both a Conscripts and a Kiki-Jiki in the same turn. So it allows that, and it's just a good card to have access to. The Linvala is mainly for the mirror. It's also really good against Splinter Twin, but shutting down the mirror's mana dorks and combo with one card is just a very powerful effect, and oftentimes the mirror is just whoever can get a Linvala first, and if the other person can't answer it, then you'll eventually kill them. So having that, and also it's in there against opposing Linvalas. If your opponent plays a Linvala, you're going to need a way to kill it, so the most common way to kill it is to get your own Linvala to Legend Reel it. I definitely would not play the deck without the one main deck Linvala. As for the mana base, it's fairly standard Naya mana base. The only difference I have that most people don't have is I have 2 Stomping Grounds, where a lot of people have 1 Stomping Grounds and a Gavany Township. I just feel like this deck is way more focused on comboing than earlier versions of Pod that played Township. Like, Township was very, very good in the Malira Pod deck because you had all these 1/1s and 2/2s, you know, that needed help to brawl with the other creatures of the format if you weren't comboing. Whereas here, not only is your combo easier to assemble, so you do it more often, it's also your creatures are 3/4 flyers, and you know, stuff, you know, like kitchen finks and stuff. So like obviously still have finks in the other deck, but just like the 3/4 flyers usually don't need much help to attack, you know, and kill people. So I just feel like the Township's not necessary, and I had plenty of games where my draw included like double Firelit Thicket Township or something, where I needed, you know, a non-colorless source of mana. So I didn't like it, so I added a separate second Stomping Grounds, and I think it's been much better since. As for the sideboard, you have the 2 Pride Mage, which is great against Cage, Torpor Orb, Affinity, plenty of mana. I think I bring this in every single matchup, because if they're not playing Affinity or something, they're going to have something like, you know, Cage or Torpor Orb, just because everybody has some sort of hate, and it's usually artifacts. Combust is for the Mirror and Splinter Twin. It's great. Killing Linvala is great. Killing Restoration Angel is great. It doesn't stop Kiki-Jiki Restoration Angel, or Kiki-Jiki Zealous Conscripts, but it can't quite do everything. It's also just one of the best possible cards to have against Twin, because they have to go through great lengths to play around it. It makes it a lot harder for them than just say, you know, if you had Ghostly Prison or something that they can just destroy or bounce. Thalia is there for Storm, Tron. It's good against Tron, red-green Tron. It's good against, sometimes I bring it against the Delver decks. It's okay against them. I haven't decided if I like it or not, but it's just generally, you know, a utility card for some matchups. It's good against random combo decks like Eggs or Hive Mind that you might run into. You know, just kind of a catch-all. Kataki is almost exclusively for Affinity. It does one thing, and does that one thing very well. They have some draws where they just are completely blown out by Kataki. I was considering cutting it for a second Ancient Grudge, because they're both very good against Affinity, and Ancient Grudge has utility in other matchups, but I haven't quite gotten to that point yet. I've still had plenty of games where the only way I could win is with a Kataki, so I still like it, but I'm getting close to cutting it. The Dismember is another card for the Mirror, just another card to kill Linvala, because like I said before, the Mirror is all about Linvala. It's also good against Splinter Twin. I also really like it against the Rug Delver decks and the Jund decks. Oftentimes you'll board into this plan of like Obstinate Balos, Thrun, and Sigarda, and just like be on the attack plan, and where your Balos and Thrun are bigger than most of their guys, with the exception of Tarmogoyf. So you really need a good answer to Tarmogoyf, and Dismember usually, like, unless things have gotten way crazy, Dismember will usually answer Tarmogoyf. The Balos, Thrun, and Sigarda are all kind of for the aggro decks, like Blue-White Red Delver, Rug Delver, and Jund. Oftentimes they'll have enough removal and stuff like Cage or Torpor Orb to stop your combo that you'll just like board into this aggressive rock-like deck where you'll just attack them to death. You know, their deck is really ill-equipped to handle a Sigarda or a Thrun. And then Baloth is just, you know, a nice body that gains some life. Obviously the Baloths are very good against Burn too. The Sowing Salts are just for Tron, red-green Tron. They're also good against the other Tron decks, but those aren't very popular. I've tried Fulminator Mage and I've tried Avalanche Riders, and while they're good, you know, Tron can still easily beat them. Whereas if you resolve, I've never resolved a Sowing Salt against Tron and lost, and I've resolved many of them. The card is just so good. I mean, I certainly can envision losing if like you just draw a bunch of lands and they draw some like Wormcoil Engines, but it's most of the time it's just a 4-mana. The game is over. So I really like it. And then the Linvala is again the Mirror and Splinter Twin. Twin has a lot of answers to it, so you can't really heavily rely on it. You got to have other stuff to go with it. But it's still good to have just another copy of the card. But if it was just for Twin, I wouldn't play it. But the fact that it's so good in the Mirror, and oftentimes your first Linvala will either get Legend Rolled or you'll use it to Legend Roll their Linvala that you want to have a second one to go get. So I really like it. The Mirror is fairly popular, so I decided to include one. That's the deck, so now we'll get to the daily event, see how that goes.